Greetings, Eagles faithful. Today we're diving headfirst into a whirlwind of news from Philadelphia, where the buzz is deafening and the stakes are higher than ever as we stand on the brink of draft weekend. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button because over the next few days, the landscape of the NFL could shift beneath our feet, and you won't want to miss a single moment of it. The Eagles have built a reputation for bold moves, especially when it comes to managing their roster's talent and salary cap. They've become masters of the draft and develop strategy, but every so often, they find themselves at a crossroads with a veteran star whose contract commands attention. That's exactly where we find ourselves now with Dallas Goedert, the reliable tight end whose presence has been as steady as the Philadelphia skyline. Having inked a 4-year deal worth $57 million, Goedert still has 1 year remaining on that contract, and the whispers about his future have grown louder with each passing hour. As the clock ticks down toward Thursday night's kickoff of the draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin, rumor mills are running overtime trying to predict what the Eagles will do. Will they choose to hold on to Dallas Goedert, banking on his proven production and chemistry with Jalen Hurts? Or will they decide that moving his contract is the smartest play, freeing up cap space and netting draft capital to bolster other positions of need? The possibilities feel endless, and that's why every mock draft, every analyst's hot take, and every speculative trade scenario feels like fresh ammunition in this high-stakes game of roster chess. Philadelphia's front office has always been shrewd when it comes to trade negotiations. Remember back in 2022 when they dealt Carson Wentz for a haul of picks? That move set the tone for their current approach. If a player's value is peaking in the market, you capitalize. But this time, the calculus is a little different. Goedert is more than just a tight end. He's a versatile weapon who can line up in line, flex out wide, or split out and challenge coverage downfield. His route running has improved year over year, his blocking has become more consistent, and his rapport with the quarterback is undeniable. Trading away that kind of multifaceted asset is never easy, especially with a quarterback like Hurts who has come to rely on him in critical situations. Yet, the draft itself has a way of shifting priorities. If the Eagles see an opportunity to grab an edge rusher or a defensive back in the first round who could become an impact starter from day one, they might be willing to part with Goedert to make it happen. Alternatively, if the board falls in a way that they can address edge or secondary through later rounds, perhaps they keep him, believing his veteran presence is worth more than any rookie upside. These are the dilemmas that keep fans up at night, discussions that flame up on social media, and debates that stretch from Broad Street all the way to the parking lots outside Lincoln Financial Field. Meanwhile, across the league, several teams are quietly considering how they might pounce if Philadelphia decides to put Goedert on the block. Among them, the Indianapolis Colts have emerged as a potential landing spot. With a roster that has needed a dynamic tight end for seasons, the Colts could unleash Goedert in an offense that already features a strong running game and a quarterback capable of spreading the ball around. Imagine Goedert lining up next to Jonathan Taylor, creating mismatches over the middle, and giving that offense a fresh threat in the red zone. It's the kind of scenario that makes front office executives stay glued to their phones during the draft. Baltimore is another franchise whose name keeps popping up. The Ravens, led by their ever-creative offense, already boast one of the league's best tight ends in Mark Andrews. But injuries and contract uncertainties have left cracks in their tight end room, and if they felt compelled to upgrade or add depth, they might circle back to the prospect of adding a veteran like Goedert. Picture a tandem of Andrews and Goedert terrorizing defenses, each drawing extra attention that frees the other to make big plays. The mere thought sends chills down the spine of any opposing defensive coordinator. And then there are the ripple effects related to other trades. ESPN's Dan Graziano posed an intriguing question. What if the Cincinnati Bengals select the edge rusher they covet in the first round? Would that nudge them closer to honoring Trey Hendrickson's trade request or lower their asking price from a first-round pick to a second? If that chain reaction occurs, perhaps another team in need of defensive help will trade for Hendrickson, freeing up draft picks that the Eagles might covet. It all intertwines in this grand tapestry of draft day maneuvers, where one selection can set off a domino effect that reaches all the way to South Philadelphia. As we edge closer to Thursday, the speculative chatter over Goddard's future will only intensify. Sports talk shows will dissect every wrinkle in his contract. Pundits will debate whether his production justifies moving on, and armchair GMs will craft the perfect three-team swap scenarios that sound brilliant on paper. But the reality is that there are countless variables at play: salary cap considerations, internal evaluations of the draft class, even the desire to reward a player who's given his all to the city. Every angle matters, and the Eagles' decision-makers have to weigh each one before pulling the trigger. One thing is certain: no matter what happens, Dallas Goedert has earned his place in Philadelphia lore. He's been a consummate professional, steady, reliable, and productive when called upon. If the Eagles do decide to ship him out, it won't be because he didn't deliver on the field. It will be a strategic move aimed at positioning the team for sustained success. And for fans of the team acquiring him, it will be a cause for celebration, knowing they're getting a proven performer who can make an immediate impact. So, what will it be when draft night arrives? Will Philadelphia hold onto their veteran tight end, banking on continuity and proven talent? Or will they seize the opportunity to retool, trading Goddard's remaining contract for the promise of tomorrow written in draft capital? As the hours tick away, the NFL world watches with bated breath, ready to react at the instant the phones light up and the announcements roll in. Imagine for a moment that the Eagles do elect to move Goddard's sizable contract. The immediate beneficiaries would, of course, be the teams who acquire him, but the very act of freeing up that cap space in Philadelphia would allow Howie Roseman and his front office cohort to pivot aggressively toward other pressing needs. Perhaps they'd circle back to the defensive line, leveraging the newly available resources to pursue a proven pass rusher via free agency, or even make a late-round splash in the draft. Or maybe they'd target the secondary, bolstering their cornerback rotation with a veteran presence to pair alongside emerging stars like Darius Slay. Any such maneuver would send a clear signal. The Eagles remain committed to building a championship-caliber roster, unafraid to trade short-term familiarity for long-term upside. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The more compelling narrative lies in how Goddard's potential move would reverberate among his suitors. Take the Indianapolis Colts, for instance. In a league where tight ends serve as pivotal connectors between the run and pass games, landing Goddard would represent a transformative upgrade. Picture Indy's offense peppering defenses with play-action fakes to Najee Harris before rifling a bullet over the middle to Goddard, exploiting the linebackers kicked out of position. That dual threat of run and pass would keep opposing coordinators off balance. And in an AFC South where the Colts are eager to reclaim their division crown, every edge counts. Meanwhile, Baltimore's offense, even with Mark Andrews in tow, could pivot toward an even more diversified set of personnel packages. The Ravens have long been masters of creative schemes, using 2- and 3 tight end formations to confound defenses. By inserting Goddard alongside Andrews, they'd unlock a new tier of unpredictability. One tight end could line up in line to absorb the edge rusher, while the other splits out wide to challenge a safety one-on-one. Defenses would have to choose. Do they load the box to stop the run and risk giving up chunk plays through the air, or drop 8 in coverage and dare Lamar Jackson to beat them on the ground? It's the kind of strategic dilemma that can tilt the balance in high-leverage situations. Zoom out further and consider the cascading impacts on the draft board. If the Eagles turn Goddard's contract into draft capital, they might end up with an extra second-round pick to complement their existing haul. That additional choice could be used to trade back into the first round, perhaps moving down a few spots in exchange for another future asset, or it could be utilized to snag a high-upside prospect at a premium position. Think cornerback, think edge rusher, think offensive tackle. Any of those could be within reach. And even if the team opts to stand pat, the mere ability to draft multiple difference-makers in the mid-rounds is invaluable, given the league's parity and the high rate of rookie contributions in today's NFL. On the other side of this equation sit those teams tethered to the fortunes of other veteran tight ends. If the Colts swoop in and claim Goddard, what happens to the market for Mark Andrews? Suddenly, that asset's value could skyrocket, as teams realize that elite tight ends are even scarcer than they'd thought. We could see bidding wars erupt for aging stars who remain productive, or long-term players approaching free agency find themselves at the center of trade fever. That sort of domino effect is exactly why draft weekends transform into so much more than mere selections. They become seismic events that reshape entire rosters. There's also a human element that shouldn't be overlooked. Players are not chess pieces, and Goddard himself will have a voice in this process. His performance on the field, soft hands in traffic, willingness to block for the run, knack for finding daylight over the middle, earns him respect far beyond the confines of his contract's dollar value. Teams recognize that adding a veteran leader to the locker room can accelerate the development of younger players, instill a culture of professionalism, and even influence game day morale. That intangible value might tip the scales in favor of acquiring a player like Goddard, even if the price in draft capital is steeper than usual. And then there's the matter of timing. Right now, the draft is imminent, but the free agency and waiver periods lurk on the horizon. Teams must weigh whether to secure their roster needs now through a trade or to gamble on the open market. If Philadelphia holds on to Goddard through the draft and then entertains offers in the days that follow, they risk competing against teams gearing up to bolster their own squads once rosters clear. Conversely, a preemptive trade during the draft solidifies the return, guaranteeing that picks and the potential immediate reinforcements land in South Philly before the chaos truly erupts. Let's not forget the fan perspective. 4 Eagles supporters, Brooks Hatch, and a local sports talk radio host will be dissecting every available piece of intel, spinning scenarios well into the weekend. Social media threads will erupt with hot takes, from we have to keep him at all costs to move him and reload the roster. The passionate heartbeat of Philadelphia fandom will pulse through bars. So as the clock winds down and the draft order looms on the horizon, remember that every pick tells a story and every trade reshapes a narrative. Philadelphia holds the pen for the next chapter in this saga, and the ink is ready to flow. Whether that ink befriends the name of Dallas Goedert on a transaction sheet or inks in the names of tomorrow's stars, one thing is certain. The NFL's drama never rests, and the next twist is just a selection away. Stay with us as we watch the dominoes fall, one pick at a time, unfolding a story that spans from the banks of the Schuylkill River to the stadium lights of every city chasing football glory. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Wide receiver BOURNE has reportedly agreed to terms with the Philadelphia Eagles, marking one of the most intriguing offseason moves in the NFL. After spending the last few seasons with the New England Patriots, BOURNE now joins a high-powered Eagles offense that's looking to reload and retool after a disappointing end to their 2024 campaign. BOURNE's decision to sign with Philadelphia could prove to be a major boost for an offense already stacked with talent. Known for his crisp route running, infectious energy, and reliability in clutch moments, the former undrafted free agent has steadily carved out a respected career in the league. In New England, he became a favorite target for Mac Jones, showcasing his ability to operate across the middle of the field and stretch plays with yards after the catch. Now, with Jalen Hurts under center, BOURNE could take on an even more dynamic role in Nick Sirianni's offensive scheme. Sources close to the negotiations confirmed that BOURNE was courted by multiple teams, but the opportunity to contend with the Eagles, combined with the culture and vision laid out by the front office, ultimately swayed his decision. While the exact contract terms have not yet been disclosed, insiders suggest it's a team-friendly deal that gives Philadelphia both depth and flexibility at the receiver position. For the Eagles, this move signals an intent to surround Hurts with even more weapons while maintaining a balanced attack. BOURNE complements star receivers like A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith with his versatility and work ethic. He may not be the flashiest name on the roster, but his consistency and locker room presence are invaluable traits for a team with Super Bowl aspirations. As the offseason unfolds, all eyes will be on how BOURNE integrates into the Eagles' offense. If his past production is any indicator, Philadelphia fans have every reason to be excited. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.